The 1927 Mississippi Flood. In the spring of 1927, the Mississippi Delta, a land of rich soil, winding rivers, and hard-working communities, found itself facing a disaster unlike anything the United States had ever seen. It began quietly, almost deceptively, with weeks of relentless rain soaking the Midwest. Rivers swelled, tributaries overflowed, and the Great Mississippi, usually powerful but predictable, started to rise beyond anything engineers believed possible. By April, the pressure on the levees was immense. Entire towns watched nervously as men piled sandbags higher and higher, praying the barriers would hold. But the river had other plans. One by one, levees began to buckle. Some burst with explosive force, unleashing walls of water that tore across the landscape. Others simply dissolved, collapsing into the torrent as the Mississippi surged forward, claiming everything in its path. In Greenville, people heard the sound before they saw the destruction, an eerie thunder like distant cannon fire. Moments later, a levee gave way and a roaring tide swept across the delta. Houses were lifted from their foundations. Farmland vanished beneath a churning brown sea. Highways, railroads, and entire neighborhoods disappeared in minutes. Families scrambled to rooftops and treetops, clinging to anything that kept them above the rising water. Rescue boats became lifelines. For days, crews navigated through what looked less like the American South and more like an endless, muddy ocean. Survivors waved sheets from rafters, called out from drifting debris, or huddled together on the few remaining dry patches of land. The human cost was staggering. Hundreds lost their lives, and nearly 1 million people, most of them poor laborers and sharecroppers, were displaced. Relief camps overflowed as refugees arrived with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Food was scarce. Tents stretched across fields like makeshift cities. And yet, in the midst of hardship, stories of courage emerged. Neighbors sharing their last rations, strangers pulling each other from the water, communities rebuilding from nothing. The 1927 flood did more than reshape the land, it reshaped the nation. It exposed deep inequalities, prompted sweeping changes in federal disaster response, and led to the creation of some of the most ambitious flood control projects in U.S. history. The Mississippi would be tamed with new levees, spillways, and engineering marvels designed to prevent such a catastrophe from ever happening again. But for those who lived through it, the memory of that spring never faded. They remembered the roar of the water, the darkness of the flooded nights, and the moment when the mighty Mississippi reminded everyone just how fragile human plans could be. If you found this story powerful, help the channel grow by liking, sharing, and subscribing.